Welcome to day 10 of Rambling and Wrenching. Today we are going to be looking at the legendary 1505. We already know this thing is absolutely amazing, but it turns out it has one little problem, and I've got a fix for it. For this series, I am doing a video every day for 30 days, and on yesterday's video, we sat down and we looked at my little brother's knife collection. Now, his knife collection is really cool because he's a guy with knives, not a knife guy, or at least not in the way that we would think about it. And so he's got some really cool stuff. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But for some reason, the upload on that video, at the very end, it cut off what he was about to say on a common problem with the 1505 and the fix that he used to fix it. Now, I always say that there's no such thing as problems, only solutions. So I'm going to show you the solution to the problem that he had, and it also solves the problem of the viewers from yesterday not seeing what it was. If for some reason you're watching this channel and you ended up on this video and you don't know what the 1505 is, it is a utility knife on the fastback program that Milwaukee has. They have a handful of knives within the fastback category, but the 1505 is kind of the serial designation, and it is by and far the best. And in fact, it is by and far the best little pocket multi-tool I think you can buy, period. You can get them from anywhere from like $15 to $20 depending on the year. I know right now with the Black Friday stuff going on, I think they've got like a 2-pack for 20 bucks. So you've got your razor knife with a quick release blade in it. You have got and that's all button locked. You got a nice wire clip, and then you also have a driver on the end. That's a locking driver, liner lock locking driver with a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver, which is pretty cool. And then inside of the handle, which will probably be really hard to see, but inside of the handle, there's actually a place to store a spare blade, which is also super rad. I have a whole video on the channel. I'll link it down below. But apparently, some of you out there, including my brother, have had an issue with the new style of 1505. So it used to be that the 1505s had, let's see if I can find one here. I think I have it. Had just a retainer clip inside. So inside of this tool here, you've got a little retainer clip, and that holds your driver in place. But with the new 1505s, they have a kind of a ball bearing to hold everything in place. And apparently, when you have the flathead out and you are trying to pry, you can pop that ball bearing out, and then once you pop the ball bearing out, the tool's worthless. You can't use the driver anymore. Now, super easy and affordable to replace. However, as my brother said in his video, and I think a lot of us agree with him, is I really like to put miles on my tools. And it's kind of a bummer to lose a tool over something so simple. So my little brother figured out a hack. Before I can show you that, though, I have got to try to simulate popping the ball bearing out, because I have used this as a pry tool quite a bit. It's one of the reasons I love the 1505, and I have never pried that ball bearing out. So I'm going to pick here, and I'm going to see if I can just pop it out using the pick. There seems to be some sort of a clip around the outside here. You can see right there maybe. There seems to be some sort of a clip there too, so I bet if I get rid of that clip, we can get there. Okay, clip is removed. And I think that clip probably, there we go. We got it figured out, no problem. So I was able to pop the clip. Let me get this part off right here and show you. Okay, so I was able to pop that clip off, that collar off, that's on the outside of it, and then it's going to be really hard to see because it is itty bitty, but I was able to get that ball bearing as well. So I'm not even quite sure how somebody is prying to that extent. Maybe there was like a second generation between the interior clip and the exterior ball bearing, because I don't know how you're going to do that, but the fix is pretty cool. And then just to show you what that looks like, right? There's your tool, and it just falls out. So it does make the driver part completely useless. At that point, just carry yourself around a utility knife, because this is pointless for the whole reason that you bought it. So it happened to my little brother, and he is not one to be deterred. He's a lot like me. He just kind of likes to make things work, and again, likes to put miles on his tools. And so he had a little magnet laying around at his house, and he's like, dude, I bet I can get that magnet to fit in there. So he had just kind of like a strong magnet. He put the magnet down there and glued the magnet in the bottom. Totally works. He's been using it. He said he's been using that way for a few months now and has literally no problems at all. Now, I do not have a magnet that size, and to be honest with you, I don't think it's really easy to find magnets of that size regularly. I think it's something you probably have to order online. So if you're interested in doing this, we're interested in doing this with materials that you can find more readily available, because, you know, you order something, you wait, who knows, blah, blah, blah. Did you order the right size? It's always hard to tell online. I'm going to take this normal size magnet right here. You can get them at Harbor Freight, Walmart, I mean, Home Depot. You can get them anywhere. It's just a little neodymium, whatever, magnet. I probably said that wrong, but you know, it is what it is. And I'm going to grab it with a pair of lineman pliers, and then I'm going to cut it with these dikes because they're pretty frail. And so I'm going to be able to trim that thing down until it will fit inside of that tool there. Now, funny enough, I've been working with hand tools, obviously, most of my life. I think I got my first knife when I was 3 or 4, and I've, you know, always been interested in hammers and things of that nature. Try to get this magnet to actually be there. This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, is just getting that magnet to stop trying to suck in on itself. There we go. So I've been using hand tools my whole life, and I've always heard these pliers referred to as dikes or snips, but always dikes. That's always what I've heard them referred to as. And I never quite knew what the reference was. I mean, you know, if you can wager a guess as to where most people think it comes from. You can see this cut right here, nice and brittle magnet, and that will just cut right off. So you can just trim these standard size magnets down, no problem. But anyways, I was always a little confused, but the other day I got on a kick of watching old instructional tool videos and machining videos from like the 40s. Really, really cool stuff, by the way. If you ever want to learn something really neat, or just kind of learn about some of the foundational stuff that we just don't really hear about, I feel like, very often anymore, unless you're specialized in an area, just go on YouTube and start looking that stuff up. But anyways, these are called dikes because they are diagonal cutters. And I had absolutely no idea. I always love when I learn new information about things that is like common parlance for me, because it's just fun to know the root and history of the certain things that we say. Okay, we're not going to win any awards for pretty. That doesn't really matter. This is a tool that we'll never see again. We're just trying to get ourselves a good size magnet to fit down into the shaft of our 1505 driver. We are getting pretty small. I think we're a little too wide still, but let's do a quick little fit check. All right, we are metal on magnet, but yeah, I was right, see? So our width is looking about right, but we are still a little too, well, I guess it's a circumference. So one axis of our circumference is looking correct, but the other is not. So I'm going to, I found this to be actually really handy. Just as you get buildup on your cutters or on your other pliers with the magnetic material, obviously, you just get a rag and wipe it out of the way, because otherwise it kind of gets in the road of you really getting in there and clipping closer, basically. And now I have to find out where I put my little magnet. There it is. It's getting very small. All right. Chop this up just a little bit more. Like I said, it is nice and easy to chop it up. Now, I always have built-in safety squints with my glasses on, but I would probably recommend, if you don't have that, putting something on. It doesn't really fly everywhere, but you never know. And it probably wouldn't be fun to get a piece of magnet in your eye. I guess you could just take a big piece of metal and pull it out that way. Just to tract it right out. I think there was a guy actually that had a metal sliver in his eye, and he did remove it with a huge magnet that he built, which is kind of funny. But like I said earlier, one of my mottos really is look for solutions, not problems. I think it's really easy to find problems, and I think that we see that kind of all around us right now. It's really easy to point out the shortcomings of other people, or it's really easy to find what the problems are with what's going on, or why they're not working for you or for other people or whatever it may be. But I think it takes a whole different approach to actually look for solutions. And then, you know, to go along with that, you can't solve everything, right? There are a lot of things in the world that I would love to solve that are beyond my power to solve directly. And so I always just say I do what I can in my little corner. And on top of doing that, you know, you have to change the things you can and accept the things you can't. That's just how life works. All right, we're down pretty small. I don't want to get too crazy because I don't want to get too small and it not be effective. And I don't want to be too big so it won't go in. It's looking close. I just kind of like eyeballing it up. It's looking pretty dang close. So let me grab some glue. All right, got a bit of glue. Gorilla Glue. I don't know why. It just always feels like Gorilla Glue is going to work better than any other glues. Their marketing's really good, I guess. So I think, I don't know how to do this, because if I'm going to make sure, double make sure, because once I put that glue down in there, it's going to be in there. And it's not going to set right away. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to set right away. but it is going to be right down in there, and I don't want to have glue dried up and then create more space inside of my tool. But I think we're good to go. I can't see down in the bottom. I want to see a little bit better. This is a perfect example of why I always have a little flashlight on me. When you're doing things like that, it's just nice. And let's see what we got. Glue's a little bit dry, but it will get the job done, so that's nice. And then I'm going to take my little magnet. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Look at that. That's going to go right in there. No problem. And then I'm going to take a little engine pick, and then I'm going to work it down in there. Again, I can't see the bottom. All right, the magnet is down in there. I don't know if I'll be able to show you it all or not, but it is, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Maybe you can see it. It is down in there. Obviously, I got a little extra glue, so now I'm going to use my engine pick, and I'm just going to kind of clean the glue up around the edges. And then just for good measure, I am going to put a little bit of glue right on top of that magnet as well. And because I have that magnet perfectly placed and I don't want to disrupt it with that metal engine pick, I'm going to go ahead and push that little bit of glue right down on top. I just got like a twig, I think it's like pine needles. Just something non-metallic. All right, now let's wait for it to dry. I think our glue has just about set. It's a little tacky on top, I think, but that magnet doesn't seem to be moving around. So we're going to give it a shot. We might have to reset and let it dry a little bit more, but let's see what we got here. So put our bit in. Of course, it doesn't fall out, which is so rad. And then pull it out, and no magnet. Okay, cool. So really nice, easy little hack that you can use if you want to keep putting miles on your tools. Again, this is not an expensive tool to rebuy. I mean, it's not like you're, losing like an expensive Wee knife or an expensive Chris Reeve or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's about putting miles on your tools. It's about doing what you can with what you have, and getting out in the shop and just making something happen. So there's a quick little fix for your 1505. Let me down below if you have any other fixes or if you've run into any other problems. I love this tool. I love talking about this tool, and I was really excited that that video ended up cutting off because that problem provided this solution right here. We'll see you tomorrow.